Okay guys, Wages World here. I know I said I wasn't going to do a video today. I did have surgery this morning. Had all my teeth cut out. I actually woke up halfway in between the procedure. So if you hear me kind of talking kind of funny, that's why. I actually had to have 12 of my teeth cut out with me being awake. That was not fun. I'm actually in some pretty good pain. I probably shouldn't be making this video, flapping my jaws here. But with that and I don't do pain medication. So, yeah. Anyway, I did feel this was important enough. I needed to come on here and talk about this because I think we got some stuff going on that I can add to this and let you guys know what's going on with this. Obviously, most of you probably already know we had a big earthquake at 19 UTC here, just off the coast of Jamaica. Now, that was at 7.7. And what's kind of odd about this is that the USGS actually had this higher than what the other agencies were showing. And usually it's the vice versa of that. Usually the USGS is lowering things more than what they should. But anyway, obviously, this was over water. So, tsunami concerns come into play here. A whole lot of different things come on. But, oh yeah, by the way, guys, it's January 28th going to the 29th, 2020. So, anyway, then we get a second one a few hours later. All right, now these are 140 miles apart. All right, that is a significant distance. This isn't something we would actually consider part of the first quake. Yes, it's related because number one, it's on the same fault line, but it is a good distance away, and plus it ended up coming in at like a 6.1, I think, is the official on that. But what's happening there is the plate itself is shifting back and forth. I'm right there on the fault line. It shifted, moved, and that's what caused all this. Now it's good and bad at the same time that, if we hadn't seen this other quake happen, that means that energy would still be kind of building, and then we could have been looking for some bigger even than that. So it's kind of good that it did, but we're seeing some strange stuff. Now I want to draw you guys' attention back to something that happened last year. Okay, we had a big drought of 7.0 earthquakes. Okay, we're supposed to get them every however many days you want to say, and we weren't getting that, what we really probably should have been, or it was out of the normal for us not to get one, without going into too many technicalities on what that means. But when we did break that streak of like 100 and I can't remember, it was 100 and some days, it was a bunch. When we did break that streak, it was the same day that we got hit with a solar storm. Okay, and that solar storm, when it hit us, where the earthquake was at, was facing the sun. Okay, so it was sun directed, which means the solar weather hit there on that side. So, and then that quake popped off. Now, is that the only thing that caused that quake? Absolutely not. It's just part of the formula, all right? And that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back on that one. Well, guess what? This is exactly what's happening right now. Okay? And I'm going to show you some stuff here, because if you remember yesterday, guys, I was showing you how they were saying we're going to get a solar storm today from a ejection from the sun on the 25th. Well, it got here, and check this out. So this is the maps I show you guys all the time. Take note of the timestamp up there, 1845 UTC. That's roughly 25 minutes before the first quake popped off. Look what's happening. Okay, the CME and the solar wind is arriving. Okay, it's here at this time. Keep in mind also that these detectors sit out here. Okay, they're not on the surface, so it does take some time to get from the detector to us, which is part of that missing time there. Okay, now sometimes we collect that energy from those things, and it does take a few minutes for quakes to pop off. But this is why we talk about quakes being on an uptick during solar weather. And I said this 100 times that, it isn't the only thing that causes these quakes to happen. Sometimes it's just that little shove that it needs, okay, for it to come off like that. And I do think that this has something to do with it. So that was the first quake that happened at 1910. Now the second quake happened at 2155 UTC. Okay. So here's the second quake. Look. 2048. Within an hour of us getting another hit. Now something else I have to bring up here. Between this hit and that hit, conditions were normal. So we didn't see any bigger quakes. We seen aftershocks and other rumbles, but we didn't see another big quake until this bigger hit we took. All right. Now I can tell you that this solar hit that we took is still ongoing. Okay, it's not. It doesn't seem to be as intense as it was, but I got some stuff to add there too. But before we do that, I'm going to show you a couple more things. Okay, guys, this is the Enlil model. Okay, this is the one where it was trying to predict out, and this is where we went to see what was going on in the future, maybe in the next couple days. And I was showing you where the CME was that was coming at us. Well, right here is when it happened. Right about here. Look what's going on. Okay, we're taking an uptick in velocity and in density at the time of these earthquakes. And notice, like I said yesterday, they really haven't changed this a whole lot yet, and they still might a couple days down the road, but they do think that it's going to get at a certain level and hang out there. So is that good, bad? We don't know yet. But so that corresponds with the earthquakes. This is almost definite. This is the best tool I could show you right now to kind of tie these two events together. Okay, if you look, remember what I said. The first earthquake was right around 18. We're between 18 and 1900 hours. What are we looking at here? We're looking at. See the time stamps down here? So in between 18 and 20 obviously is 19. If you follow that up, look what's going on. This is the velocity. Okay, we're starting to get that solar weather, and the density did the same thing. Now let me back out here a little bit too. You can see also that the phi angle, which did a magnetic reversal there, it reversed from positive to negative, which it does it all the time, but sometimes when it does that, we see a jerk on our magnetics, and that could help, be part of what causes earthquakes. But you see, right when those big quakes happened, everything started moving from space. Right before the quakes happened until current time, everything ramped up. And I have to draw you guys' attention back to last year again. This is exactly what happened last time we had that 7+ earthquake. So, yeah. Now, there's some other stuff here I want to show you real quick. Okay, guys, this is buoy data. All right. These are buoys that they have set up basically for tsunami warnings and for just bad weather conditions causing waves for people that work in the shipping industry. But for us, we would consider them basically, wave detectors that see rise and fall in wave height. Okay, just to give you a little bit of a geographic reference here, the first quake was roughly about right here, and the second one was right about right here. Okay, it's not exact, I get it, but when that happened, you see this channel? Okay, it seemed as though maybe we had a rush going through there. I can't say that for sure, because there are no buoys from here to here, from here to here. So we couldn't really see you have any data there, but this particular buoy started going off, okay? And then this one did too. And then we had a third one that went off up by New York. Now what I want to, and none of the other buoys went into event mode. They go into event mode when they see something that's so far out of whack that they need to warn us. That's what these things are for. So, what we're going to look at is this buoy's information. And I'll leave a link. This is NOAA. This is the official site. I mean, anybody can get there. This is hour. Okay, now take note though, guys. It's general mountain time. Okay, this is not UTC, so we have to convert the time. So what we're looking at here, there's about a 7-hour difference between UTC and General Mountain. So at 1800 General Mountain, that would actually be like 1 UTC on the 29th. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. Now you can tell what happened. Okay, so what happens here's the baseline. Now when you see these things go down, that means the water actually, the wave height actually got lower than sea level. Okay, I'm not sure if it's actually sea level. It's just where this buoy is at, that's where it's sitting. Okay, I'm not sure if that technically if that's considered sea level or not. Not 100% sure. But we had a rise here. Now I seen BP did a video earlier talking about just the little. I think he actually did a second one too. I just haven't watched it yet. But the first one he was talking about when this initially happened, he was showing like a 60 to 70 foot wave increase. Okay, so what you're looking at, this is done in meters. All right, so the baseline's here, and if you go up, this is 2 meters, 10, 20 meters, and it's above 20 meters, which would be a little over 60 to 70, maybe close to 80 feet. But what's interesting is it actually, when that happened also, it stayed up here for a minute, then it actually receded lower than what was normal. So if you can picture this, even if you go to the bathtub or just to your sink and grab yourself a big long, like a bread loaf pan, and put a little water in it, about an inch high, and you start moving it back and forth. Watch what happens. Look at one particular point, mark it with a marker or something, and move it back and forth. You're going to see it rise, and then when it goes the other direction, it's going to lower than normal. Okay, that's kind of like what's going on here. Something is happening out there in the Atlantic Ocean right now, in that area, that is causing the water to go back and forth. Okay, now, yes, it does have to do some of this going back and forth to get back to normal, but it looks as though even after the initial shaking and stuff, we had this, and then it stayed, and we had like a little lull period, then it did it again. So let me show you something here real quick. Keep in mind, guys, the time zones, okay? So we're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hour period. And this will update some more too. It might even have updated already, but this is a screenshot. Remember, guys, it is just happening right through here. None of the other buoys are going off. Okay, so, why is that happening in such a specific area? There are a couple ridges out here. It's not the mid-Atlantic ridge, but there is another ridge over here. I can't remember what it's called. But it's closer to that. And what a ridge is basically is almost like either a small or a large underground or underwater like range of hills or mountains, whatever you want to call them. But that's what that means. But again, it's only in this area. It's really strange, and for our earthquakes to be here, I don't know. They're related, I think, in some way, but I'm not sure what's causing this to be so directional in that direction. You would think that if the earthquakes were like this on that fault I just showed you guys, that it would be moving this way, not that way. So I don't know what caused that. Maybe there's a ridge out there that actually directed the water that way. There was also some reports of some sinkholes, huge sinkholes, and sand plumes getting blown up in the air over here on the Cayman Islands. It's really crazy. But so let me show you what the magnetics and stuff we're doing right now during this little event. Okay, guys, I got you over here at ISWA showing you the solar wind. What I'm going to show you guys first is we have to remember that these are two different time zones, or they're going off two different times. So what I just showed you on the buoys, the event started at 1800 General Mountain Time, which is Colorado, some parts of Arizona, up through that area. But UTC is 7 hours ahead of that. Okay, so 18 general mountain time actually translates to 1 on the 29th of UTC. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that. You guys can get any kind of world map, time zone map, and figure out where you're at. But we always got to pay attention to the time zone that they're using on these tools. So we're looking at the right, right time zone and the right tool. So essentially, we got to add 7 hours to general mountain time to get to the UTC. So anyway, that would be at 1 o'clock on the 29th. And if you look down here, it's about where we're at, a little bit before. But watch what starts happening. Okay, now if you look at the solar wind speed, we actually get a pretty decent spike on that too during this time. Because there's a 602 just prior to the day changing over. Then we get those little waves coming in, right? And this is all part of what was coming from the sun that I showed you guys already. All right. Now there's a 687. Okay, and there was a 7 something there. I think it got up to 8 too, if I remember right. Okay, now this goes all the way up to 325. So we're able to see about 3 hours of that event on this tool. Now again, look what it's doing. Okay, we're seeing little bursts. Is this actually causing some of this maybe? If it had something to do with the earthquakes, it most certainly could have something to do with what's going on these buoys. So yeah, so I'm going to take you back to the buoys and go over that one more time. But just remember that this is coming from that CME, and this is exactly what happened the last time we got a 7+ earthquake. But now, again, this is doing something really strange, because not this right here, but the buoys are doing something really, really strange. So here's that buoy information again, okay, guys? Yeah, so it started here, and it's still ongoing a little bit because we're still seeing little things. And again, remember, just put some water in the bottom of a pan and move it back and forth, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about there, how it will raise and lower. And most of us have already seen that before, but it's just a good analogy to use. And obviously, we're talking about it being on a large scale. So yeah. But I do think it's strange that it's just right through here. We got the Gulf Stream water that comes up through here. I don't think that it has anything to do with it, but, that is what's going on there. There's a stream of, some sort of energy waves and stuff coming through there that's causing it to happen just right there. And our magnetics are showing that it's doing something at that very time. So it's kind of hard to discount that might not have anything to do with it. I kind of think it does. And again, that's why I'm showing it to you. But I can't say for certain, because this event is just weird all the way around. And that's why I'm coming to you guys today with this video anyway, because honestly, guys, I feel really, really bad. I probably shouldn't be moving my mouth at all, but I do think this is important enough for us to talk about. And we'll talk about the flu thing here in a second too, because I got some stuff to add there. Okay, guys, this is just going to be kind of just an update on what's going on with this, and I'll add a couple of things here. But Mike and Cindy over Evolutionary Energy Arts did a video on this too, and they were showing some rioting and stuff in the streets. People over there now trying to block people from coming into their cities. Go over and check Mike and Cindy's video out, because it most certainly is it's eye-opening. I'll just put it to you that way. Yeah, who knows what we would do if that stuff happened here. And again, I just can't put a positive spin on this, guys. I just really don't know what to do as far as that goes. I do think it's kind of funny or odd that we're having this happen. We just had a big earthquake event, and our geopolitical environment is going crazy. Plus, they're talking about, we always talk about Mideast peace and stuff like that. That's all going on at once. Man, and the China government is probably really fearful of an economic collapse over there. Okay? I can't say that for sure. I'm sure that's been part of the conversation, because it most certainly should be. Okay? And if that happens, guys, don't think that that would just stay there. That would go global. That's how codependent this whole world is on each other's economies. Whether they want to say that or not, that's the truth. Okay? The only way not to be that way is to be self-sufficient, and I can't name you one country that is. Okay? At least not all the way. And again, we just got to keep an eye on this stuff, guys. It's nothing to be fearful about, but we need to know. We're lucky over here in Western society where we can actually get some sort of a buffering warning zone before it gets here most of the time. Okay? And at this point, with them World Health Organization, even the CDC coming out and changing their position to being a very strong one, saying that this is actually an issue now. They reversed their position completely. The World Health Organization did. Now, I would have to say that that's coming from them knowing now they cannot hide it. It went too viral too fast. Even mainstream media was doing that. And that's, if you see that happening in mainstream, you really better look. Because, I don't know. Now I have to add something here too. This hit home for me today. And what do I mean by that? Well, my daughter was sick. We take her to the doctor, and obviously they were testing her and stuff. And they did not test her for this particular coronavirus flu. They did test her for the regular flu and, other sicknesses, bacterial and stuff like strep throat and stuff like that. I don't think she has this, just to say that. But we have a university right about 20 miles from where I live called Miami University. It's not Florida. It's actually in Oxford, Ohio. And they've isolated a couple students because the one was showing signs and he had just come from China. And then his traveling companion got isolated with him. Now, whether this is going to be confirmed eventually, hard to tell. But at least at this point, I think what's happened is our community as a whole, I'm talking about anybody that does anything at all on YouTube, has spoke out altogether. If you go look at any channel, nobody is saying that this isn't happening. There are very few of them that are. Okay? Now, there's people out there saying that this isn't a big deal, but it is happening. And they're entitled to their opinion. But, for me, I think that this is way bigger than what it is, what they're telling us. And there's big numbers. I'm hearing huge numbers. And, I think Mike and Cindy even mentioned it in their video today. Go watch that, and they'll tell you that. I can't remember the exact number he said, but it was in the millions of people being sick and thousands being dead. So, I'll point you guys over to that video and let you guys check that out. But this is the official numbers. Again, take this for what it's worth. Okay, right now, and this is updated as I'm making this video about 15-20 minutes ago. They're now saying 6,062 people confirmed. 132 fatalities. And again, I'm of the belief that this is way off as far as their numbers. I think it's way more. When you don't start rioting in the streets and blocking people from your cities in such a violent way, if it's not a whole bunch of people, okay? That's just not what happens. People don't do that. So, with that being said, we'll go down through here and look at this. And obviously, most of the cases are going to be over there. As of this point, at least on this particular website, the United States isn't showing any extra confirmed cases. That will change, guys. Okay? There's too many people being isolated and being tested and basically they're assuming they got it. But anyway, that is what it is. And here's the map. All right. So yeah, I really don't have a whole lot more to say on that part of this today. One thing I would draw your guys' attention to is that these numbers, if this keeps going at this pace, you guys can do some simple math and you'll figure out real quick how bad this actually is already. And if we don't get a hold of it, and they're saying now that, again, like I said 2 days ago, they hadn't come out and said this yet, but we're going to have to be the ones that stop this by our hygiene, okay? We're not going to be able to contain this This is something that we're just going to have to defend by making sure we do the proper health things around our own area. The government and confinement and all these other kinds of things is not going to fix this. They're bringing back planes right now as we speak of people of our citizenship, bringing them back home. They're going to isolate them, and they're not just doing this in one country. I think it was like 11 or 12 different countries have now done this. And, you know, there's mixed opinion on why, if that should even be being done. To be honest with you, I'm kind of on the fence with that, but not all the way, because I do think if they do it properly and isolate them when they get back, that would be the best option. But whether or not they miss on a positive test or not, that's another thing that we have to keep in mind. My bigger fear is that people are actually, you know, they were in China or what have you, or somewhere else, but then they decide to fly home from somewhere else. This thing can incubate for 14 days and you don't even know you have any symptoms. You may never ever develop symptoms. So we could have been in contact with these people for days and we just don't know it. So yeah, so I am going to leave it there, guys. Man, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, that I'm talking like this, but I can't really talk much more. My mouth is extremely, extremely hurting right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, guys. I just wanted to bring you an update because I do think, you know, when it rains, it pours, I guess. You know, the day I really want to take a day off and not do this is the day we have all this stuff going on. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.